On this episode of Athletes Must Love Flushing Money Down the Toilet and Destroying Their Financial Future, we have Tyreek Hill. Now, this is about his recent divorce. I'm sure most of you guys have heard about it. Here's the thing. When I read this title to this article from Yahoo, I thought, okay, they're trying to get some clicks here. I see it looks a bit clickbaity, but no, this is not an exaggeration. The title of this article reads, Tyreek Hill's divorce explodes into one of the NFL's costliest breakups. Keep in mind, this marriage only lasted 17 months. You may be wondering, what did she get? Of course, we're talking about his soon-to-be ex-wife for the 17 months of marriage. Her name, the soon-to-be ex-wife, is Kita Vaquero. Now, I should say they had a lot of issues in their marriage. It's not what we usually talk about here when it comes to the divorce stuff. What we're concerned about is how badly is this man actually screwed. Goes on to say that she walked away from her 17-month marriage to NFL star Tyreek Hill with a major divorce settlement. Daily Mail reports she secured a $500K lump sum, $20K to $50K a month of spending money. $100K for a new car, $450K for legal fees. Pause right there. This part right here is what lets me know that he most likely did not have a prenuptial agreement. Because a lot of people don't understand. Because you see, not everybody thinks the same way when it comes to like marriage. In case things don't work out, not everybody thinks, hey, I don't want her to leave with shit, nothing at all. Sometimes people have families, they have kids, and they want that woman to get something. They're very happy with their potential wife getting something. What most future husbands want is like a cap, limiting their losses. This is why when people bring up like Dr. Dre and they talk about how he had to pay $100 million to his ex-wife, people don't understand that he was worth like $850 million, almost a billionaire at that time. In that situation, a prenup limited his losses. Now, most people aren't really going to pay for someone else's fees because they're going to understand like you're paying that person to have fuel to fight you. So when I see $450K to pay her legal fees, it lets me know that Tyreek Hill most likely did not have a prenuptial agreement. Of course, that's me assuming. That's not all she gets. Goes on to say an exclusive use of their $5.5 million Miami mansion. Does that mean she's the only one that can use that mansion? Maybe I'm not reading this. I'm going to have to double check this here in a second. He remains responsible for the mortgage and utilities. That's crazy. That's insane. But with his NFL paycheck, that's well within reach. Who cares if it's well within reach? Who cares if it's well within reach? Why didn't this man protect himself? Just because he's well within reach doesn't mean that he has to cash out a chick that he's only been married to for 17 months. Insane. Let's read a little bit of this article before we check out some other people's responses. It says, Tyreek Hill's dazzling speed may have earned him the name Cheetah, but nothing could prepare him for the staggering financial sprint of his divorce. The Miami Dolphins star is shelling out astronomical sums to his estranged wife, Kita Vaquero, turning their short-lived 17-month marriage into one of NFL's most expensive and bitter breakups yet. So the rest of this just goes into detail about what exactly he's going to be shelling out. Let's talk about the sponsor of this channel, fathershaverights.com. Engaged and soon-to-be married men, hiring the wrong lawyer can leave you with an overpriced, unenforceable prenup. Avoid the trap. Inside my step-by-step guide at fathershaverights.com, renowned attorneys James Sexton and the lead attorney lay out the exact questions to ask, red flags to spot, and proven steps to hiring the perfect prenup lawyer. The guide itself costs only a couple of dinner dates, far less than a single billable hour. Hit the link pinned to the top of the comment section, lock in your guide, and join the hundreds of men securing their marriages the right way.
Man, look, I don't know where to start, but let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Tyreek Hill, brother, just listen to me. Go lock yourself in a room, sit in that corner until the NFL season starts. That's all I want you to do. Start doing that, brother, because every time I look up, you paying for something. I get it. Right now, the money's good. The money's good. The money's flowing, right? I get it. But, brother, you ain't going to have no more money by the time you retire. Right. And you talk about retiring pretty soon, right? Bro, let's look at what Kita Velveeta get. All right, Kita Valcro has walked away from her 17-month marriage to NFL star Tyreek Hill with a major divorce settlement. All right, $500K lump sum, $20K to $50K spending money. What are you buying? How did y'all negotiate that? Oh yeah, she needs 20 to 50K just in her pocket. What the no, hell, bro.
So he's asking, how'd you guys negotiate it? He didn't negotiate it. The state laws negotiated it for him.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
And again, this happens over and over again. If it can happen to an NFL star who has all the resources to knowledge and access to advisors, people who can probably warn him before he makes terrible financial decisions, then best believe it can happen to the currently engaged or soon to be married man who cannot recover from this type of devastation of a divorce. Men will sit here, watch this exact same content, and will somehow end up not protecting themselves in some form or fashion at all.
That's child support. Just tell this is child support. Okay? $100K for a new car. What? She should have a car by now. What? $100K? What is she trying to drive? A spaceship? Oh, okay. All right. $450K for legal fees. Who did y'all hire? But lawyers do be charging. So, hey, look, that is what it is, okay? And then exclusive use to their $5.5 million Miami mansion. But Tyreek Hill still got to pay the mortgage and the utilities. Oh, no. She getting her back blown out in a house I'm paying for? Oh, no. Oh, no.
That's wild.
Oh, no. No. Hell no. No.
Right.
I'm just saying, man, enough is enough, bro.
Right.
For real, enough is enough. Tyreek Hill, you need to go sit down in a corner, cross your legs, cross your arms, frown your face, and sit in that goddamn corner. Because, brother, ain't no way.
All right. So what I do want to know here is, does that exclusive use, because, you know, like there's legal terminology here. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so none of anything I say is legal advice. If you want that, you know where to go, fathersofrights.com. But I want to ask our AI assistant here, Barista Miss Coffee. Miss Coffee, real quick, just to make sure I'm hearing this right. Does exclusive use of their $5.5 million mansion in this actual story mean that she's the only one that can access that mansion?
Absolutely, sugar. Here's the quick answer. When court documents say Kita Vaccaro was granted exclusive use of the $5.5 million Miami residence, it does mean she has the legal right to live there, and that Tyreek Hill is barred from accessing it during the divorce proceedings. It's a formal court order, not just a suggestion. What exclusive use means in divorce temporarily grants one spouse full possession of the marital home, even if it's owned jointly or by the other spouse. OmarLawGroup.com.2, NYPost.com.2, Instagram.com.13, Instagram.com13, plus TimesOfIndia.IndiaTimes.com.13, MarkhamLegal.com. Bond typically issued to one spouse when living together has become untenable, or to protect them emotionally or physically, especially when children are involved. JeffreyLegal.com, often in place throughout the divorce proceedings, after which property ownership is finalized or adjusted. MarkhamLegal.com, KCHate.com. In this case, yes, Kita Vaccaro's exclusive use of the Miami condominium legally means she is the only one permitted to reside there, while Tyreek Hill must stay away. Despite that, he carries the financial responsibility, covering the mortgage and utilities.
Yeah. You know, one thing I will say, I have heard that there have been physical altercations between the two of them. You know, I see a lot of chicks talking about how they'll never date NFL players because, you know, they deal with a lot as far as the mental distress that comes from being a football player. Specifically, they were talking about CTE and all the horror stories and so on and so forth. So it could be that that's the reason why they decided to give her exclusive rights to use that property. And maybe as this goes on, they may not give her the full property is what it sounds like. I don't know. I think that's very unlikely. I don't know. We'll see. A few comments here. Top comment says, but y'all hate Jaden Daniels' mama. Somebody else here says, what did he do? Here somebody says, I don't feel bad for bro. He got 9 kids. Yeah. 9 kids? 9 kids? Oh, this man loves problems. This man loves problems. It's not going to end well for Tyreek. That's just the truth.
Got some NFL news for you. Tyreek Hill now has 5 children this year and 13 all together. So just for giggles, I was curious how much this man owes each month in child support. Looks like he's currently paying $13,500 for 3. So that's about $4,500 per kid. This is how much he's paying each month in child support with that rough bar napkin math, about $60,000 a month. For the love of God, dude, just pull out. This is how much he's paying per year. And remember, this is money he paid tax on already. And you know he's taxed at about 50%. So with that said, Tyreek better get that next contract, because my Lord, this man is going to need it. Each one of these kids is going to be 18 one day. So this ain't stopping anytime soon.
When are y'all going to learn? When are y'all going to learn that marriage is stupid? When are y'all going to learn status quo support? What the is that? So because I give a lifestyle, we separate, mainly because she divorced me. I now have to pay her enough money in whatever installments to maintain said lifestyle. Get the out of here. This Tyreek Hill situation is just another reason as to why I made the decision when I was about 12 years old, because all it took was all of the bad marriages I saw around me, the way that relationships were portrayed on TV shows and cartoons and some animes and shit like that. It really conditioned me. And then as I got older, I learned, okay, yeah, this shit is never going to be something I'm going to do ever in life. That it's really crazy how dudes get slammed in the mouth when it comes to divorce courts, family courts, and all that bullshit. I just refuse to play that game. Why would I play a game that I know is already rigged against me on every angle? I'm already playing the game of life in America, which is rigged unless you get that bread, which I intend to do, because if I stay this way, I'm gonna end up kicking in some of y'all doors. I don't want to do that, but I gotta put food on the table.
Damn. He says he's ready to kick in indoors. I've been thinking of the perspective of marriage from two sides. Both the people who know they will get married, and millions of people get married every year, right? And then the people who know that marriage is not for them and they're opting out, so on and so forth. And both sides believe that the other people should do what they're doing. Right? Not myself. At the end of the day, I think good for you if you've realized that marriage is not for you. I don't think that marriage is for everybody. While I do think for the right type of person, marriage can be a very beautiful thing. And if you've seen that, like I have, grown in a 2-parent household, then you can see the power of what it can be when it's done the right way, especially when it comes to raising up kids. It's a huge selfless act from the time you decide to get married to the time you have children. And if you're thinking, like, I remember listening to a video of a chick who says, what do I get out of it? Like, can someone convince me to get married? She's like, what do I get? If you're asking the question, what do I get out of it? Then you shouldn't be getting married, in my opinion. Then you probably will live a more fulfilled life not being married. Now, the reason why failed marriages are the only thing that hit the headlines is because as humans, we lean towards negative aspects of life. Now, this is also just the way we are as humans, right? You want to know when something bad is happening because that's how you survive. Okay, let me avoid this. Let me avoid that. Or let me do this way if this is something I want to do with my life and value, so on and so forth. But I think knowing that marriage is for you and not for you, either one of those two things is a huge accomplishment.
But in all seriousness, this is the craziest shit in the world. I'm sorry. Marriage is stupid. Especially if you're one of these.
All right, let's read a few of these comments, see what the top comment says. Nothing wrong with marriage at all. Too many people just marry the wrong person and or do it without God. You see, I think there is something wrong with modern day marriage today. Definitions change. They change. And this is why I think defining marriage is so important. If you ask somebody, well, do you think there's something wrong with marriage? It depends on how you define it. Words change. The definitions of what something is really changes. If your definition of marriage is an equal partnership where you want a man to act like a woman and there's no roles here and there's no set of values and principles and we're just leaning on love to get us through it, then I do think there's something wrong with that definition of marriage. Somebody else here added, I always believe marriage is meant for weak people. Well, that just canceled like 90% of great men, right? Somebody else, she says, it's only about the money. Somebody else here added, marriage is not the problem. It's the laws are outdated. That's huge.
That boy Tyreek Hill got to pay 20 to 50K a month to his ex-wife for something called status quo support, which means he gave it a lifestyle, now he got to maintain it. On top of that, he paid her legal fees, which was almost $500K. On top of that, she tried to get his Bentley, and the judge was like, nah, you ain't getting a Bentley. He gonna give you $100K so you could buy a new car. Had to do that. On top of that, he has to maintain and pay the bills of his $5.5 million oceanfront home so that she can live in it. Come on, bro, you got 10 kids and the bitch just got all of that out of you for 17 months. Slipping. You're done. That's it. Just focus on football. Your years is depleting. Your skills are depleting, whether you like to admit it or not. And you're going to end up a broke-ass ex-NFL player because you don't know how to keep your dick in your pants. Nigga, you got 10 kids. You're a fucking idiot.
Back to the conversation from earlier. Listen, Tyreek Hill. You and Travis Hunter got the same type of problems going on, but you guys also have the same type of description. And I think what this is just a lack of confidence. And if you have a lack of confidence, this is not something that any woman of any nationality can cure. This is something that you are going to look into yourself about and do something about. You have to work on self-esteem. It's called self-esteem, okay? And all the money in the world obviously ain't enough. It'll have you losing your money, okay? Yeah. That's just where you need to start at. Also, these women, we all know, those girls got what they deserve. They deserve the bag, right? Because you put them on a pedestal. You had all the patience. You thought she was all of that. And so now you got to pay. And that's just it. And that's literally how the ball bounces.
Hey guys, as always, I appreciate you checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. To my currently engaged or soon to be married men, if you need a prenup and would like a guide that shows you how to get a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement, hit the link into the top of the comment section and access your guide at fathershaverights.com today.